Hey everybody, welcome back to With Bowl and Spoon. I am your host, Shelly Danko Day. Today's guest is the wonderful Jessica Wilson Graves. I first met Jess at a farmer's market and immediately loved both her energy and her creations. Her company, Una Biologicals, is a Pittsburgh-based company that makes all-natural, plant-based bath and body care, basically food for your skin. In our conversation, you'll hear how Jess got started, what inspired her to create Una Biological, and why it matters to not only think about what we put in our bodies, but also what we put on them. Jess shares the lessons that she's learned and how her work and the Una community can help us cope with whatever life happens to bring. Hope you enjoyed the show. Welcome to With Bowl and Spoon. I am Shelly, your host, and I am here today with my guest, Jessica Wilson Graves. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people about what you do?
Awesome. Thank you, Shelly, for having me. I'm Jessica. I am the founder and CEO of Una Biologicals, and we are, in my opinion, Pittsburgh's best botanical beauty and wellness company. So we create a full line of all-natural, plant-based bath and body care for the whole family. We're deeply committed to natural and organics. That is the premise of everything that we make. And we do everything from lotions to skincare to soaps, bath salts and scrubs, herbal healing, salves, deodorants, teas. If it makes you happy or healthy, we're making it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's cool. We like it.
I love your product, and you really saved my face with some of your moisturizer this year, which is really great.
Yeah. It's that's actually where we started. Was face products because my skin is so sensitive and there wasn't product available and affordable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, why don't you talk about how you got started?
Yeah. So we started. I always say it was a growth of need largely. So I started making products way back in the day, probably 25 years ago, when my babies were babies. I have a background as an herbalist, and I've always done natural wellness. Like since I was a kid, I was really that geek. I always say I'm very much a plant geek. I was a very geeky kid. I started doing herbal wellness and essential oils in my youth. So middle school, high school.
Oh, that goes way back. Yeah.
It goes way back. Yeah, it's definitely... I think at this point in my life, I've accepted that this is just soul calling space. I've worked on organic farms in college, and I think that really kind of firmed up some of my visions and ideas about supply chain, food, organics, what we're eating, what we're putting on our bodies and in our bodies overall, and kind of how that affects our overall wellness, as well as the big picture, the world, right? What we're doing, how we show up as stewards in this time and place. So that's really kind of like where the seeds grew from, I would say. And then I was making product back, I was young parents, single income household, little babies. We needed things. So I was just kind of putting all of my...
Yeah, babies are gross. Babies need things.
They do need things. They're always getting hurt, and they're dirty little creatures, and they're, but you also don't want to put chemicals on them.
Right.
And that's a I would say a theme that we've seen through the many years of Una, that a lot of people come to natural products about the time that they start having families, and start kind of re-questioning what is in everything, right?
Yeah, it's the same with food. Like a lot of people say their aha moment came when they had kids and they're like, oh, I eat this crap, but wait a minute.
Right.
Not good enough for my kid.
Exactly. So, and we really are here to honor that, right? And I'm like, wherever you are in your journey, I'm here to meet you there. That's how I look at this. So we were making for my family for many years. I had a little cottage industry with a girlfriend, a little cottage business. I always laugh. We had a house full of small children and dogs and chickens, and, frantically writing notes on our, with new products we were making and testing and trying. And I always say we're not animal tested, but we were baby tested. Don't tell the FDA. No, just kidding. But that was like the genesis was, if you can picture two very hippie looking moms with a horde of small children and chickens and dogs. And some of the products we still make today are from those early days. And then Una came about officially in 2008. So we've been here, we just celebrated our 16th birthday. And about that time, we'd been selling for a little bit out there in the world as Una Biologicals. And we really started recognizing that there was this deep need in Pittsburgh for affordable, truly natural products. There was a real gap. And this was back, in the early 2000s. Whole Foods was not here, right? We had the co-op. We didn't have much else. And access to natural body care in particular was really difficult to find. And so we recognized that there was this place that we could actually help and do something that was really good for people and give them something that legitimately worked and that they could actually afford to purchase, because $80 a pop for a lotion was just not really reasonable for so many people that I knew at that time. And we wanted to be able to offer something that was a little bit more egalitarian, right? But legitimately good. And so that's what we started doing, and we've evolved over the years. So now we have our storefront in Lawrenceville, which a lot of people know us from. We did pop-ups for a long time. And that's where we met, doing farmers markets and pop-ups around the city, and we can talk more about that, I'm sure. Until we eventually opened a storefront in 2015, and we now have our products in about 150 stores around the country. We sell on multi-channel platforms. We're here in the Burgh, and we have our manufacturing site. We now have a larger warehouse over in Homewood. So we've come a long way from my kitchen, which is amazing.
That's great.
So cool.
So, all right, let's back up a little bit. Though, where did you grow up? Are you from Pittsburgh?
No, and it's so interesting. I am born and raised in Florida. I know. Southwest Florida. It was not a cool spot back then, but it was very pretty.
Where in Southwest Florida?
Cape Coral, Fort Myers.
That's where my parents live.
Really?
Yeah, right now.
Well, so do mine. There are some amazing ecosystems in Florida. Some really beautiful nature spaces that are so unique that just literally don't exist in a lot of other places. And it was a real blessing to grow up and have that. I tell my husband, and he always thinks I'm telling stories about elementary school field trips were to cypress swamps that you walked through in the dark water with lessons on what to do with cottonmouths when you see them, which you did on every field trip. And literally this was 8 and 9-year-olds with 2 parent chaperones. And this was the 70s,
And coppermouth snakes you're talking about.
Cottonmouths.
Cottonmouths, sorry.
Yes.
Cottonmouth snakes.
Uh-huh.
And so what would you do when you encounter...
Stay away from them. Don't engage. Go the other way.
You just see it swimming, and they're not going to come at you.
Generally speaking, they're not going to come at you. Did my little 8-year-old brain fully understand that? Maybe not. Could that be an impetus as to why I left Florida? Quite possibly. With palmetto bugs, the combination. I'm cool. But my family is all originally from Pittsburgh. Both of my parents' sides, and they're really deep roots. David Lawrence is my great-great-uncle. So hardcore Pittsburgh family base. So it's interesting that I think it's so neat to kind of look at maybe ancestral energy and soul energy, how we get to different places, because it always felt really natural that I would come to Pennsylvania, and I moved to PA for school out in the center of the state, which is where I farmed, and then my journey brought me to Pittsburgh, and I've been here since 2000. So, I call myself a Pittsburgher now, but a Pittsburgher would not call me that. And that's okay.
Well, I've been here since 94, so I guess I'm not technically a Pittsburgher either. So.
Right. I mean, you are, until somebody asks where you went to school, and they mean elementary school.
It's true. It's true. But apparently I have the Pittsburgh accent. Which I don't hear. And my husband, he still has his British accent, but then he has his Pittsburgh accent, so he doesn't fit in anywhere. He's always a novelty.
Right. Which is very fun.
Poor guy.
Aww.
I mean, it's fun for us.
Right.
Not so much for him.
I can see that. Mm-hmm.
So what did you study in college?
Not this.
Ah, okay.
I studied.
But you worked on a farm when you were in college,
I
so I
did.
thought maybe there was some connection there.
There was, and honestly, partly because I think life is rambling, right? And I assume that this may resonate with other listeners, is that I went to college for a dual degree in chemistry and biology because I was a big science geek. And I loved chemistry, but at the time, chemistry was only feeding pharmaceuticals, big pharma. That was the only job. And so I quickly realized that that was not going to be my life path. That was just so counterintuitive to everything I believed in. And I had a professor who was chomping at the bit for me from the jump in conflict resolution. So my degree is actually in conflict resolution and international politics. And I thought I was going to go save the world that way. And then it turned out that I saved the world this way instead.
With chemistry and biology.
Yes. And wonderful people skills
loves.
and
Yes.
mediation. Yeah, with my original love kind of came back around.
That's fantastic.
And the mediation part was really great as a mom.
I imagine that would be a good skill in life
Yeah,
to have.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it serves, but it's very windabout. And I think how many times I've met people who, went for one degree and work in a totally different field. And when we do a lot of mentoring with young people, and I think this is a piece that we try to help them understand, is that life will wander. It is a path to be enjoyed, and it's not necessarily a ladder that you will climb.
Well, I call my my career path, it's more like a career hiking trail.
Yes.
There's a
Exactly.
lot of rocks and branches, and sometimes it's a cliff face that I have to climb, and it has not been a path.
It's not a path. And sometimes there's a lot of trust, right? In your own self and your intuition, that when there's this new pathway or new branch or new, way to go that feels right, that it will be okay if you do that. And it's not always the easy one.
Yeah.
But it has served. It has worked out.
Yeah. So 16 years ago, what took you out of your kitchen?
Yes. I think what really gave us the capacity to grow, I think there was a couple things. We've always been really blessed with this really dedicated client base, which was shocking, and it still is to me many days. I knew we were making a really great product, but the way that it landed for people was just so much more than I could ever imagine. And that many of those people still come in today that were shopping with me back at the beginning and love to tell stories and tell my staff about this and where they found us. And so we really had this great opportunity. But Pittsburgh in particular, I think on the maker side, has this incredible network of opportunity available that you don't see everywhere. And there's a lot of different spaces and places for this in the city. So farmers markets, I think, and I know that you interview a lot of people from farmers markets that vend at farmers markets. Mm-hmm. There's such a low barrier entry into client-facing space that is really critical to young businesses, right? Especially young businesses that aren't funded, right? And I think a lot of small business is self-funding. They're very grassroots. And if you're doing it that way, not that going, the tech way, I'm going to call it the tech way, not that going a well-funded way isn't great. It's super smart. But it's a different process. Mm-hmm. And there's a different set of supports and structure that exists for you there. And I think a lot of small business, particularly food-based small business and craft makerspace small business, fund themselves. It's very by the bootstraps kind of gig, which is certainly how we did it. And it was a great way to build our brand and to build a strong grassroots connection to people by having face-to-face interactions. And so I think the farmers markets were really great for us because we really got to spend time and get to know clients, and the cost is low. There's a lot of them in the city. It's easy to be in lots of neighborhoods. So the entry barrier is real easy. It's super easy to step into. And then Pittsburgh has some really great maker markets that are extremely supportive. Handmade Arcade, obviously, we love them. They're the big one. We're super proud to be a sponsor. We've been a sponsor for the last 8 years, and it's a big piece that I believe in terms of giving back and helping other makers move their business and how to grow your business. And Handmade Arcade does this amazing job of offering supports, and they do some training. They do a lot for youth makers, which I think is one of my favorite programs that they do. I just think it's an incredible opportunity to give young people the chance to see that they can create something and they can sell something and they can learn all these aspects of business, you know, profitability, margins, how do you cost, you know, how do you do costing, how do you understand this whole picture, supply chain, that even if this business isn't their life calling forever, it's such applicable life skills that are, it's so rare for young people to get this opportunity that I'm super passionate about that. And then we also have I Made It Market as well. And, you know, both of them have been around for a long. Handmade Arcade just had their 20 year. I Made It Market, I've worked with her my whole existence, so she's got to be around 18, maybe at least, I would say. And they also have a lot of smaller markets around the city regularly. And we started actually in I Made It Market. That was our first kind of organized pop-ups, you know. And so it was and that was our process. That was our way to get in front of people and test product, bring it to market. We sold in the Strip District. That was really our beginning, that and the farmers markets. But Saturdays in the Strip is where I spent 9 years down there, behind the t-shirt guy, across from PenMac, every Saturday in what used to be the artisan market.
Ah, right.
And it's now the t-shirt spot. Now it's all enclosed and cute and has walls. Back then it was cold and dirty, and it was awesome. It was amazing. It was real funky.
Oh, the grit. Yeah.
The grit. I mean, it was like a real Pittsburgh experience, you know, because there's nothing like selling outside in 25 degrees.
Yeah, the grit is missing from the world in so many places.
Yeah, it really, you know, it hardens you. I say, not hardens in a bad way, but it
builds character.
It builds character. You know,
God, we sound old.
We do. I say all the time that, like, this business actually, I think the thing that I got the most out of running a maker business was I got real good at failing. I got real good at failing. And do you know how much easier life is if you're fine with failing? Like, if it doesn't crush you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. How many things have we made that sucked? Many, you know, that don't make it all the way out. And you just get used to that. It's not a personal comment. You know, it's okay, we got to fix this and do something better.
And you learn from it. That is the key, is that you learn from it. And if you don't fail, you don't learn. I'm 120% behind you on that statement. Yeah.
Big fan of it. You know, I think it's a key piece, and I won't go on a diatribe about it, but it's a piece that I have deeply appreciated and found I was a much better person for, having gone through some of the harder experiences of business ownership and even just product development.
Yeah.
But life throws curveballs, and having gotten a little bit used to some of the grit that it takes to do this has allowed me, who's a pretty soft-hearted human, to manage the curveballs better. You know, I'm not a thick-skinned person. But sometimes life is hard and you gotta woman up, you know? And so it's really kind of, I feel like, allowed me to grow along with the company as we've both kind of come into our adulthood.
So you're talking about your failures, and maybe this isn't a relevant thing, but talk about one of your successes where you didn't fail, you tried something, it worked, and you were shocked or whatever.
Yeah. So I would say...
I'm sure that happened. It's not been all failures.
It does. Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of product. And I always tell people, I said, it doesn't make the shelf if I don't use it at home, right? If we don't love it, and I mean love it, I'm not selling it. Like, if it's even a mediocre, unless I get overruled by the team. I think, you know, honestly, the two products that I think are the most, to me, continue to be my, like, wow, would be our Luxe face cream. It's probably the product we're known for, because face cream is hard. Okay, I'm going to say 3 products. The face cream, and it was one of the first ones I made because my skin is so sensitive and hates the world, and everything makes it red and everything makes it break out, and, you know, you can't put a t-shirt on, you can't put a hoodie on your face when it's having a bad day, right? Like, it's out there for the world, and it sucks when it's irritated. So making a product that really hydrated, really deeply. I always say our products are like skin food, right? Really nourishing deep into the dermis to really care for yourself and not just put a layer of, peptides and collagen and all kinds of additives and petroleum on your face.
But I definitely appreciate that as a person who just puts it on and doesn't know all the details like you're talking about. Like I like that I can trust what's in your product and just
right. And this is I think one of the pieces I think is most important to me is that we are that trustworthy space and that resource for people. If I don't have it, we probably know a good source for it. And we'll recommend the places that we think are actually good. Or if we bring it in, because our store has a lot of additional product, it's a product that we have vetted and love and approve and feel good about recommending to other people. And there's a lot of intention in that. It's not just, we don't bring product in just for product margins and, to make money off of it. So I think that's a big thing. Our other two products that shocked me that I was like, winning! Really proud of, deodorant that actually works. That was hard. To make, harder than I expected it to be. Getting it to be good, getting it to last all day, getting it to be the things we don't think about, texture, dryness, aroma, all these like bits and pieces. We just buy a product and they're like, oh, I like it. It feels good. It smells good. It does the job. There's a lot of pieces behind that.
Oh yeah, we totally take things for granted.
Right?
Like the motion your phone makes when you do certain things, when you push on buttons and that little vibration that you get, like that somebody had to invent that.
Somebody invented that and programmed it and figured out how to put it in and whatever process that was.
And it's pleasing, and the tones and all of those like details. That's just the first example that came to mind. But yeah, no, I totally know what we just take for granted that all of this is naturally occurring.
Right.
And no, it takes a lot of thought and effort.
It takes some thought and effort. And I think, my biggest win is that we're here and we employ like 9 or 10 people, generally speaking, with real jobs just to make your lotion, like just to make your product, because people are excited enough about buying, small business, woman-owned, natural, that we're able to continue to create jobs for people that are like good. I like to think they're good. That to me, I think is like the most shocking win. Like not what I set out to do in life, and so proud of being able to do that.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
So what is new for Una in 2025?
What's new for Una in 2025? I think our biggest new coming back, I would say our workshops actually. So 2025 for me, there will be new product. Never fail. There will be some new scents. We're working on some new scents and soaps and hopefully a liquid hand soap I'm real excited about. We have some eye serums. There are some little things that are in R&D that are nearly to the great point. So we're looking forward to that.
And just speaking of R&D, are you the one who's doing the sciencey stuff behind all of this? Have you pulled your biology?
Pretty much all of our R&D, yeah. Everything that we have, I created. We do have a team right now, like all of our current makers are herbalists as well, which hasn't always been the case. So we have this really cool team at the moment, which is really exciting because it just brings some capacity and some new perspectives. And I don't need to be the person making it. It's just how it's been, like I think for so many small businesses. So I do love having some more brains to collaborate with on some products. So we have some cool stuff in the making. And then 2025, we use the store as a platform, as a place to support people and artists and to give whomever walks in off the street a break from life for however long you're here, right? I mean, because you've been here, but if you don't, when you come in, you get a cup of tea. It smells good. The energy's nice. It's very calming in here. Fun, not calming like bedtime, but relaxing. We really want to just be this pleasant moment in your day.
It feels like coming to a friend's house.
Yeah, right?
Like your staff is very friendly and it's really laid back. and you can just wander around and look at what's new.
Exactly. And if that's just, you just need to breathe and have a cup of tea, that's great. We have teachers up the street who do that regularly on their lunch break. And so for 2025, I think there's a lot going on in the world this year. And I really want to be this space of positivity and community. And I think that we need that as we move through the changes that are coming, to have a place that feels uplifting without whitewashing, right? But also without focusing on the negative. We all know what's there. I think it's important to focus on how can we come together as community to be stronger on the other side, and to support efforts that need done, and to just support one another in this time, right? And so that, for me, 2025 is for us all about creating more opportunity for community and connection. And we're doing that through a lot of workshops. We have way more workshops, which we used to do a ton of, and COVID really paused. I'm all for suggestions. If there's people want to see or do things, we're up for what do people feel they need and want this year. We have some on the calendar already, but we're really excited about kind of being this space and place for people.
Cool. So that's what community means to you, is being a space and a place for people to feel comfortable coming together.
To come together and to find some support. I think especially as adults, it can be really difficult to make new connections, make new friends. And I've seen that increase in Lawrenceville in particular, because this is where we are. I've seen that increase with young adults, because there's a lot of young professionals in this area that have moved to the city, but there's also a lot of, remote work. And so we're not having the same social connectivity that we used to have. And so we may have some, we all have some, but our networks are smaller. Our support communities seem to be smaller than they used to be. And it can be difficult as an adult. You can't, I won't say you can't. I would say most people aren't that comfortable rolling up in the coffee shop or the bar and being like, hey, I like to knit and make naughty embroidery. How about you? Right?
Be my friend.
Will you be my friend?
Yeah.
I love that book you're reading. I mean, sometimes I won't say that I haven't done that. But most people...
It's hard. It's really difficult to make friends at a certain age or after a certain age. And, if you're not working in an office. I mean, even in an office, I never had friends in an office.
Right. Finding people who kind of have some common space, some common ground with you.
Yeah.
And we try to be a very open place where everybody feels comfortable. Everybody is, truly, everybody can come and hang. And it tends to be pretty diverse around here. But with a caring, open heart. We're all about the strong back, soft heart, kind of vibes around here. So that's, yes.
Talk a little bit about your workshops. You mentioned workshops. Do they happen here in this space?
Yeah, so we do them in both locations, which we're excited about. Historically, most of our workshops happen here in the store, often after hours, so that there's a little bit more room, and there's always tea and usually snacks, because I like to eat. I'm really all about the food. And we do a variety from classes that we have people come in and teach. This Thursday, this probably won't be out, but we have meditation and Reiki. Next week we're doing the astrological year ahead. So your 2025, what's happening. We also I teach a lot of workshops on herbal wellness. So we do herbal tinctures and herbal salve making and herbal teas. And when the weather's fun, we do herbal cocktails. And they're all over they're very broad based between what we're teaching and then what we also have other people come in and teach. I think this year we're going to do some financial wellness for women. I think empowering people to feel really strong, empowering women in particular to feel very strong around money is important, and I think missed a lot in general in society. So it's kind of broad-based, and we're really excited to start offering some at our HQ. We call it Herbal HQ, which is our manufacturing site over in Homewood. It's a much bigger space. It's particularly great for the herbal wellness workshops and making. Most of those are make and takes. I really like people. I think it's much easier to learn if it's hands-on. So we do a lot of, let's talk about what plants you want to use, and then let's make it so that we can diminish the mystique around empowering yourself for your own wellness. Because so much easier and much more fun than people might realize. So we're looking forward to offering a whole new series there as well.
There's a bunch of people that I want to ask you if you know now, but I'll ask you when we stop recording. So where can people find your product? You did a bunch of pop-ups and handmade arcades and I made it markets for the holidays.
So you can always come to our shop, which is at 3707 Butler Street in Lawrenceville.
And it's lovely, yes.
We love it.
Smells so nice.
It is worth the effort of parking in Lawrenceville to come hang out here for a little bit. And then you can go get food at it. You know, we will happily give you a recommendation for any number of restaurants in this area that we happen to love. You can also find us online at unabiologicals.com. On our website, there's also an events tab, which tells you all of our events coming up and which pop-up markets are coming. And then there's also a list of retailers on our website. And there are a number of other retailers in the city that carry Una. So if you can't get into Lawrenceville, but you still want to shop small, you can find us, for instance, at the Co-op on the East End, at Steel Goat Marketplace in Penn Hills.
Never heard of that.
Super cute. It's very cute. It's worth an adventure out to them. It's pretty adorable. You can find us at Love Pittsburgh. There's a number of stores in most of their locations, but we try to be in almost every area, north, south, east, west, so that you don't have to drive too far to get what you need.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you about the maker scene here in Pittsburgh that you would like to mention?
I think that it is worth being aware of, for instance, the building that we are in Homewood is a Bridgeway Capital project for the Creative Business Accelerator program. I think there's some really cool supports for makers in this area, which I will happily maybe tell you offline so that you could maybe have them available for your people that are listening, because I think there are some that are maybe less known. But I think one of the coolest things about Pittsburgh is that there is so much small business support between Chatham University. Carnegie Mellon has a whole small business program that is not, you do not have to be a student to partake in. Pitt has a whole program, again, with a whole office dedicated to small business development. Literally, I'm not sure about Point Park. I haven't done anything with them. The other three I have. And they're all fairly accessible in price points, which is very important, obviously. Entrepreneurs Forever is a small business program that supports small businesses in the city. There's a lot of very active ways for small business owners to find support, because it's a very insular job, especially early days, which is usually the first several years. You don't tend to have staff for the first many years, and you tend to work alone or have one or two other people, maybe, and often family. It can be really daunting to also explain why you work 70 hours a week for very little money, chasing this dream of yours to your family members who are like, why don't you go back to that real job you had as a realtor? Remember that? I think it's a real experience for people. So having space where you can find validity and also common experience. Because what I have seen over these many years is that even if our businesses are entirely different, our experiences in business ownership and growth and the things that work really well and the things that are struggles tend to often be the same. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's really important to have support and find community, even though you think you have absolutely no time for any of it. It's usually worth 1 hour a month to see another face, even on Zoom. And there's a lot of it here. So I think it's amazing. It's, I think, what allows Pittsburgh to have such a strong community of small business. I think there's a lot of women business owners, which I think is also deeply unusual. The percentage rate is really high.
Yeah.
Lawrenceville is 70% women owned. I mean, it's crazy, the statistics around here.
And that started, 25, 30 years ago.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
I was part of a women business owner group that used to meet for happy hour around Lawrenceville.
Right?
Back in the late 90s, yeah.
Yeah. The roots are here. We want to support local business. Pittsburghers are deeply dedicated to that, which is amazing. So I think it's important then to help the owners have ways to support themselves and each other. And there's a lot here to make it happen, which is super cool.
Well, Jess, thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Thank you so much.
Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon. Lick that spoon. Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon. Lick that spoon.
With Bowl and Spoon is written, produced and hosted by Shelly Danko Day. Original theme song was written and performed by Paul LeBreeze and friends. You can listen to With Bowl and Spoon wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe, like, review and share. Follow us and send us questions or messages on Facebook and Instagram at With Bowl and Spoon. Thanks for listening.